Welcome back to Elderly Guidance.
Great to be back.
Today we're diving deep into something that touches every single one of us every single day, breakfast.
Hmm.
Specifically, what that first meal means for your health, your energy, and your vitality if you're over 60.
Yeah, it's a daily habit. Seems simple enough, right?
Yeah.
But the research and insights we've been looking at, well, they reveal that our common breakfast choices might be having a far bigger impact.
And sometimes a negative one.
Exactly, a negative impact than we realize on how we age.
It's honestly pretty eye-opening stuff. We've dug into a stack of material that makes some really surprising claims,
It does.
suggesting certain popular breakfast foods could be surprisingly detrimental, while others are packed with benefits for aging bodies and minds.
And the research even pointed to a pretty high percentage of seniors regularly consuming breakfast that could actually be working against them.
But here's the encouraging part, I think.
Yeah.
The material suggests a lot of this isn't set in stone. It's not irreversible.
Right. That simply switching out one key item can start to shift things, maybe dramatically, for the better.
Exactly. So our mission in this deep dive is to cut through the marketing hype, you know, and get to the science, just like our source material tries to do.
Hmm.
We're going to identify the 4 common breakfast foods the research says you should probably avoid, and the 4 it highlights as must-haves.
And really unpack the science behind these claims. Understand what they actually mean for your health as you get older.
Yeah. And hey, if you find this kind of information helpful, getting to the science behind everyday choices and understanding their impact on aging, well, please take just a moment right now to subscribe.
It really helps us keep doing these deep dives.
It does, and it ensures you don't miss future ones. We really appreciate it.
We do. And it is all about looking at the data, isn't it?
Mm.
Especially those peer-reviewed studies focusing on older adults, which was a key part of the material we reviewed.
Okay, then, let's unpack this. The research kicks off by pinpointing 4 common breakfast foods that, well, they might seem harmless, maybe even marketed as healthy,
Right.
but could be subtly harming seniors. They're linked to things like inflammation, potential muscle loss, memory issues, and that dreaded blood sugar roller coaster.
And the source material actually ranks them by their suggested level of hazard.
Okay, so what's number 4 on their list of foods to reconsider?
Coming in at number 4 is packets of instant oatmeal.
Instant oatmeal. Really? But it often says heart healthy right on the box. Seems like a safe, warm, comforting choice.
Yeah, you'd think so. But this is where the processing becomes the problem, according to the research we looked at. Instant oats are so broken down
Ah.
that your body absorbs them incredibly fast. It's like they've been pre-digested for you.
Okay, so rapid absorption means a big sugar hit.
A rapid blood sugar spike, exactly. Most instant packets aren't just quick oats. They also contain quite a bit of added sugar, often over 18 grams per serving.
Wow, 18 grams.
Yeah. And plus, many include maltodextrin. That's a processed carb that research shows can spike insulin even faster than table sugar.
Faster than sugar.
That's what the studies suggest. The source material describes this whole event as putting your body in a state of, like, metabolic alarm, which leads to a crash later, leaving you tired, maybe shaky and hungry again pretty quickly.
And there are studies backing this specific point.
Yeah, a study highlighted in our source materials from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition looked at older adults eating these high glycemic breakfasts.
Okay.
It found their inflammatory levels were 47% higher for the next 6 hours compared to those eating lower glycemic options.
6 hours. That's significant.
It is. And the findings suggest that these frequent morning spikes are associated with a 40% higher chance of developing insulin resistance over time.
Which is a big risk factor for pre-diabetes, type 2 diabetes.
Exactly, especially in older bodies which might already be experiencing some reduced insulin sensitivity.
So, okay, if someone enjoys oatmeal, what does the research suggest is a better alternative?
Well, the material strongly recommends avoiding those instant packets altogether.
Right.
Instead, make your own using steel-cut or whole unprocessed oats. The key is the slow processing by your body.
Makes sense.
They suggest maybe soaking them overnight or cooking them slowly, and importantly, adding no sugar. The goal is that slow, steady release of energy, not a metabolic shockwave.
Slow and steady. That seems to be a recurring theme for health as we age, doesn't it?
It really does.
All right, let's look at number 3 on the list of foods to avoid, according to this research.
That would be cups of flavored yogurt.
Ah, another one that seems healthy. Calcium probiotics, good source of dairy. What's the issue here?
The deceptive part, based on the research, is really the sugar content. Those small, convenient cups. often pack more added sugar than a standard candy bar?
More than a candy bar.
Seriously.
Seriously. We're talking up to 22 grams of added sugar per serving in some popular types. That's over 5 teaspoons you're consuming right at the start of your day.
5 teaspoons? Wow, that's a lot. It is. And it's not just the sugar. The material also points out that many contain things like thickening gums, artificial flavorings, artificial sweeteners, even food coloring.
And those aren't just innocent fillers.
Apparently not. They can contribute to systemic inflammation and even disrupt the healthy bacteria in your gut.
Why is that disruption particularly worrying for seniors?
Well, the research cites a study in the Journal of Gerontology. Older participants who had high-sugar dairy for breakfast saw a 34% rise in inflammatory markers, things like CRP and IL-6, in just 2 hours.
2 hours? That fast?
Yeah, and inflammation isn't just about feeling stiff joints, The studies link this kind of chronic inflammation to faster muscular atrophy
Muscle loss.
and cognitive decline in older adults.
What about the low-fat versions? Are they any better?
The source material is pretty clear that they're often not better.
Ugh.
When the fat is removed, sugar or artificial sweeteners are usually added back in to make up for the lost flavor and texture.
Oh.
And fat, especially healthy fat, is actually crucial for absorbing certain nutrients, and it helps stabilize blood sugar, both really vital functions in aging bodies.
So the recommended alternative is?
Plain Greek yogurt. Simple as that. You get the protein, you get the probiotics. If you want flavor, add it yourself, maybe some cinnamon, a small amount of fresh berries. You stay in control of the sugar.
Plain Greek yogurt. Okay, simple, but makes a huge difference based on that sugar content alone. Okay, coming in at number 2 on the avoid list.
This one, the research we looked at calls it the largest breakfast deception.
Oh, sounds serious.
It's breakfast cereals, even the ones marketed as healthy.
Oh, okay, this is a big category. We're talking the ones that shout multigrain, high fiber, fortified with vitamins.
Exactly those. The material basically argues that most morning cereals are ultra-processed, loaded with sugar, and pretty nutrient-poor despite all the claims on the box.
Even with the added vitamins.
Yeah, they're typically made from refined grains, which, just like the instant oats, are broken down super quickly by the body. Adding artificial vitamins and sugars back in doesn't really make up for the fact that you're essentially eating fast-digesting carbs with very little whole food value.
So the fortification doesn't cancel out the downsides of the processing.
Based on the studies cited, no. For instance, research in the British Medical Journal linked processed breakfast cereals to a 21% higher risk of type 2 diabetes, especially among older folks.
21%.
And another analysis, this one from the Nurses' Health Study, highlighted in our source, indicated that regular cereal eaters were 36% more likely to accumulate belly fat after age 60.
And we know that belly fat isn't just about weight, right?
Exactly. The research explains that this type of visceral fat actively releases inflammatory chemicals. Those chemicals can damage muscle tissue and increase the risk of serious things like stroke. So pouring milk into that bowl of cereal, according to this material, often means kicking off your day with something that hinders your metabolism, fuels inflammation, and kind of sets you on a path toward chronic health issues.
What about the no added sugar cereals?
Also potentially problematic. They often use things like malt extract or fruit juice concentrate, which the source says can have very similar metabolic effects to plain sugar.
Okay, but what about the fact that cereal is soft, easy to eat? That can be important for some seniors, maybe with dental issues or swallowing problems.
The material addresses this head-on. It calls it a significant trade-off. While it might offer some temporary physical comfort for chewing, the research suggests the internal damage, the blood sugar spikes, the inflammation, the lack of dense nutrition, causes real long-term harm. The authors contend there are much better, equally soft options that support stable blood sugar and preserve strength without those downsides.
So they really don't see cereal as a good, quick, simple option for seniors?
No. They classify it as one of the riskiest morning habits, surprisingly.
Riskiest. Wow, that's a strong take based on the data they reviewed. And that brings us to what the source material identifies as the #1 worst breakfast error for seniors.
White toast with jam or margarine.
Ah, the classic. Ubiquitous, feels like. Quick, simple, inexpensive. What makes this the worst?
Well, the research describes this specific combination as perhaps the most damaging thing you can eat first thing in the morning for your muscles, your brain, and your metabolism.
Why so bad?
White bread is pure refined starch. All the good stuff, the fiber, the minerals, the things that slow digestion has been stripped away. Eating it, according to the study cited, makes your blood sugar spike as quickly and dramatically as drinking a can of soda.
Like drinking soda? That's a pretty stark comparison.
It is. And then you add margarine, often made with industrial seed oils like canola or soybean. The source material points to research showing these oils can lead to oxidative stress and inflammation in the body. Then top it off with jam, basically concentrated sugar. So what you have is concentrated sugar slathered on processed fat, sitting on a base of refined starch.
Sugar on processed fat on refined starch. Yeah, when you put it like that, the science starts to click.
And the studies seem to back it up. Research highlighted in the source, including one in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, linked frequent consumption of refined bread combined with trans fats, often found in older margarines or processed foods, to a 48% greater likelihood of cognitive decline over 5 years in older adults.
48% cognitive decline.
Yeah. And another study, this one from the European Journal of Endocrinology, showed this type of breakfast decreased insulin sensitivity by 34% in people over 60.
So it's way more than just feeling an energy crash mid-morning.
Oh, absolutely. The research indicates this meal contributes to a weakened immune system, promotes that chronic inflammation which can lead to muscle shrinkage.
Muscle shrinkage. Wow. Yeah.
And damages blood vessel walls over time. The effects can be subtle at first, maybe, but they're profound and they add up. The material strongly suggests avoiding this combination completely if your goal is to maintain your freedom and mobility as you age.
Does that warning apply to whole wheat toast as well?
The source does note that while whole wheat is generally better than white, it can still be problematic for some seniors, particularly those with significant blood sugar regulation issues or maybe gluten sensitivity.
Right.
But the research is most emphatic about white bread, with margarine and jam being the single most harmful regular breakfast choice they identified. And it's surprisingly common, isn't it?
It really is. Okay, that's a pretty sobering look at some common breakfast habits, but the material we reviewed also promises powerful solutions.
Exactly. This is the good news part.
4 foods that the research says seniors must consume daily for vitality, muscle preservation, and brain health.
Yes. Foods backed by studies shown to actively reduce inflammation, support muscle function, and enhance brain performance. And again, they rank these, this time, by suggested benefit, starting with number 4.
Okay, let's shift gears to the positive. What's number 4 on the must-have list?
Chia seed pudding.
Chia seeds. Okay, that might sound a bit, unexpected to some folks.
The research acknowledges it might be surprising, but calls it one of the most simple and effective daily additions, especially if you're over 60. Despite being tiny, they are absolute nutritional powerhouses.
How so?
When you soak them, they form this gel. And the source material explains this gel provides deep cellular support and incredibly steady energy. Their fiber and omega-3 content are really the keys.
Okay, how much fiber and omega-3s are we talking?
Just 2 tablespoons contain about 10 grams of fiber and 4 grams of anti-inflammatory omega-3 fatty acids.
That's quite a bit in just 2 tablespoons.
It really is. And studies cited, like one in the Journal of Nutrition, Health, and Aging, show that higher soluble fiber intake significantly improved insulin sensitivity in older adults. Plus, regular omega-3 intake was linked to a 30% reduction in muscle deterioration risk.
And that gel texture you mentioned, how does that help metabolically?
Oh, the material explains that the gel actually slows down the digestion of the seeds themselves and anything else mixed with them.
Okay.
This results in a very slow, controlled release of nutrients into your bloodstream. No sharp blood sugar spikes, no crashes, which means no sudden fatigue or brain fog. Just consistent energy and clarity through the morning.
Nice.
Plus that gelatinous texture. It nourishes the good bacteria in your gut, which supports immune function and nutrient absorption, both super crucial as we age.
How do you actually make this pudding? Does it sound more complicated than it is?
Not at all, according to the research. It points to a super simple method. Just soak 2 tablespoons of chia seeds in about half a cup of almond or coconut milk overnight in the fridge.
That's it.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
In the morning, give it a stir. Maybe add a little cinnamon or a few berries for flavor if you like. No cooking needed, it's soft and easy to eat, and it delivers powerful benefits without stressing your system. The source material describes it as a meal that kind of quietly supports your muscles, joints, and brain.
That does sound incredibly simple and effective. We're uncovering some potentially game-changing information here about starting your day right based on this source material. If you're finding this helpful and want more science-backed insights delivered straight to you, please do hit that subscribe button right now.
Yeah, and maybe leave us a comment letting us know what you're learning or what breakfast change you might try. We'd love to hear from you.
We really would. Okay, back to the list. What's number 3 on the recommended foods?
Beets or beetroot smoothies.
Beets for breakfast.
Yeah.
Okay, that's definitely not your typical morning fare.
No, but the source material is really quite emphatic about this one, stating it can significantly improve blood flow, muscle performance, and brain function in seniors. The magic ingredient here is nitrates.
Nitrates. Okay, sometimes those get a bad rap, don't they?
Well, yeah, some nitrates used in food processing can be concerning, but the nitrates found naturally in beets are different. When you eat them, your body converts them into nitric oxide.
Nitric oxide. Okay.
And nitric oxide is this powerful molecule that actually causes your blood vessels to widen, improving circulation.
Why is better circulation so vital as we get older?
The research really emphasizes that blood flow naturally tends to slow down with age. This impacts everything: how hormones and minerals get delivered, how quickly your muscles can repair themselves after activity, even how much fuel reaches your brain.
Hmm.
This decreased circulation can contribute to feelings of weakness, fatigue, maybe reduced cognitive function. Beets, by boosting nitric oxide, directly counteract this age-related slowdown.
Are there specific studies on beets in seniors mentioned?
Yes, definitely. A study in the Journal of Gerontology cited in the material found that older adults who drank beet juice daily saw a measurable 19% increase in their walking speed
Wow.
and a 21% improvement in muscle oxygenation during exercise. Another study, this one from Wake Forest University, showed that incorporating beet-rich foods into breakfast enhanced frontal lobe brain function, that's the area for memory and decision-making, in older participants in just 4 days.
4 days. That's fast.
Yeah, the authors stress this shows quantifiable, tangible improvements. Real change.
Okay, but do you have to gnaw on raw beets to get this benefit?
No, not at all. The material suggests a simple smoothie. Just half a cup of cooked beets. You can buy them pre-cooked, blended with water, maybe a squeeze of lemon. That's enough to provide a significant nitrate boost.
That sounds much more doable.
Yeah, and drinking it maybe 30 to 60 minutes before any physical activity, like going for a walk or doing some exercise, is when you might notice the most immediate impact on your energy and endurance, according to the research. You can add berries or half banana, too. Make it quite tasty.
Cooked beets in a smoothie.
Mhm.
Okay, interesting. All right, moving towards the top of the list now. Number 2 on the must-eat recommendations.
Pasture-raised eggs.
Ugh, eggs. They've definitely had a bit of a rocky reputation over the years, haven't they? Cholesterol fears and all that.
They have, and the source material directly addresses that, saying eggs have been, quote, unfairly vilified.
Okay.
The newer research strongly supports including them, especially for older adults, highlighting them as one of the most nutrient-dense breakfast options out there.
Nutrient-dense how?
Well, they're packed with healthy fats, high-quality protein, about 6 grams per large egg, and essential nutrients like choline, selenium, B12, and vitamin D.
Why are those specific nutrients so important for aging?
The research highlights them as critical for things like cognitive function, a healthy metabolism, and crucially, maintaining muscle mass. That protein is key.
Right.
Our source points to studies, including one in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, showing that older adults who consistently got at least 25 grams of protein for breakfast maintained 45% more muscle mass over time compared to those who mainly ate carbs in the morning.
45% more muscle mass. That's huge.
It's massive, especially because preserving muscle mass is so vital for strength, balance, and independence after 60.
And you mentioned choline earlier.
Yes, the research really emphasizes choline. It's essential for making neurotransmitters, brain chemicals, and studies show it helps shield the brain from age-related atrophy or shrinkage.
And eggs are a good source.
One of the best natural sources, yeah. But the source material notes that many seniors are actually deficient in choline.
Why the emphasis on pasture-raised eggs specifically?
Oh, the research explains that because pasture-raised chickens get to forage outdoors, eat bugs and greens, their eggs naturally contain higher levels of important nutrients like vitamin D and those anti-inflammatory omega-3 fatty acids compared to eggs from conventionally raised hens.
So better nutrient profile.
Exactly, which impacts things like bone strength and helps further reduce inflammation.
How does the research suggest preparing them for maximum benefit?
The key thing, according to the material, is to avoid cooking them in those inflammatory oils we talked about, like vegetable oil or canola oil.
Right.
Instead, use healthy fats like grass-fed butter or maybe olive oil. Cooking methods like poached, over easy, scrambled, or soft-boiled are all excellent options cited. They help preserve the nutrients and are easy to digest.
And good for chewing issues too, I imagine.
Exactly. The material notes that eggs are soft, easy to chew, and very satisfying, making them ideal for those who might have some chewing or swallowing difficulties. They provide efficient, adaptable support for maintaining strength, memory, and aging steadily.
A very compelling case for bringing eggs back to the breakfast table, it sounds like. Okay, now, the number one most important breakfast item, according to the research we reviewed, the top of the must-have list.
Yes, the source material is very specific and quite strong on this one, calling this the most important single thing seniors should aim to eat every day. They specify tiny, dark, wild blueberries.
Wild blueberries. Okay, you have to emphasize wild, not just the big cultivated ones you usually find in the plastic clamshells.
Exactly. The research makes a very clear distinction. They describe the small, dark, wild ones as being uniquely concentrated with potent antioxidants and compounds that significantly benefit the brain and the body.
So they're different chemically.
Significantly so, apparently. They aren't just a sugary fruit. The material almost calls them medications for your metabolism, memory, and muscles because of their unique chemical makeup.
Medications. Wow. What specific compounds make them so powerful?
It's mainly their high concentrations of anthocyanins. These are the plant pigments that give wild blueberries that incredibly deep, dark color. And studies demonstrate their ability to combat oxidative stress, drastically lower inflammation, and even support the repair of aging brain tissue.
Wait, repair aging brain tissue? That sounds almost too good to be true.
It's a strong claim, absolutely. But the research presented in the source material seems to back it up. A study published in the journal Nutrients showed that seniors who ate just 1 cup of wild blueberries daily experienced significant increases in memory and attention span after only 90 days.
90 days, noticeable improvement.
Yeah. And even more remarkably, an American Journal of Clinical Nutrition study highlighted a 52% decrease in inflammatory biomarkers among older adults who regularly included wild blueberries in their diet. 52%. The authors described that level of reduction as unprecedented in the nutritional studies they reviewed.
52% reduction in inflammation. That is incredibly powerful.
It really is. And the benefits go beyond just antioxidants. The research indicates these berries enhance blood flow to both muscles and the brain, which improves overall energy levels, physical coordination, and recovery after activity.
Which has direct implications for staying independent.
Exactly. Better cognitive function, maybe even reducing the risk of falls.
How should you consume them to get the most benefit? Does it matter if they're fresh or frozen?
The key is using wild blueberries, whether they're fresh or frozen. Freezing actually preserves the anthocyanins very well. The research reiterates that the wild variety is smaller, darker, and contains significantly higher concentrations of those beneficial active chemicals than the larger, lighter-colored cultivated berries.
Okay, wild, smaller, darker. Got it.
And they're easy to add to things. Toss them into that plain Greek yogurt, mix them into the chia pudding we talked about, or just blend them into a smoothie. The research emphasizes you get this profound positive impact without causing a big blood sugar spike.
So what's the final word on wild blueberries from the source material?
The strong recommendation is basically this. If you make only one change to your breakfast this year as a senior, make it adding wild blueberries. The material concludes that, based on their review, nothing else seems quite as effective or efficient for nourishing your brain, powering your muscles, shielding your cells from damage, and really safeguarding what's most important for aging well.
Wow. Okay, so let's quickly recap based strictly on the claims and the research presented in our source material. The science suggests your breakfast significantly influences how your body ages. Could be for better, could be for worse. The foods to potentially avoid, ranked by potential harm according to the source, are number 4, instant oatmeal packets. Number 3, flavored yogurts. Number 2, most breakfast cereals, even the healthy ones. And number 1, white toast with jam or margarine.
And the research suggests these contribute to metabolic problems, inflammation, muscle loss, and even cognitive decline over time.
Right. And then the foods to actively incorporate daily, ranked by benefit in the source. Number 4, chia seed pudding. Number 3, beets or beetroot smoothies. Number 2, pasture-raised eggs. And the number 1 most recommended.
Wild blueberries. Tiny, dark, wild ones. These foods, the material claims, are scientifically shown to help repair damage, support recovery, boost muscle function, and protect brain health as you age.
And the source material really emphasizes that these aren't just trends or fads, but solutions grounded in studies involving actual seniors, showing tangible, quantifiable, positive changes.
Yeah, it's quite compelling. This deep dive basically provides you, the listener, with these specific findings from the source material we analyzed. It's all about understanding the science behind purposeful nourishment, isn't it?
It really is. Making informed, powerful choices for your own health journey.
Hmm.
So here's maybe the provocative thought the source material leaves us with. Based on all this information, which single breakfast item are you going to swap out or maybe add in starting this week?
Just thinking about how that one morning choice could impact your energy, your muscles, your mind, not just for today, but for the long haul.
As the research suggests, even one thoughtful change can be the beginning of some pretty significant positive shifts.
Absolutely.
So if you found this deep dive valuable, please do like this deep dive and subscribe for more weekly insights. They're all designed to help you stay stronger, sharper, and more independent for longer.
Your support really is crucial, and it helps other people discover this important information too.
It really does, and we'd genuinely love to hear your thoughts and experiences. So please let us know in the comments what you thought or what changes you might make.
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks so much for joining us for this deep dive.